Hello friends, this is Cryptonian taking a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin currently $16,192. It is Sunday, North American East Coast time. It's around 11:30 p.m. Um, and the market is contracting. The market is retracing, correcting. We can see here, this is typical right after the weekend. I've said this before many times that sometimes on low volume we have push to the upside and then we retrace or sell off at the end of the week, Sunday night, Monday, and that's what's happening. We have some coins are down 4%, some are 2%, um, and however, some of these coins are doing really well. Doge has been doing really well in the face of Bitcoin's weakness, right? So, and I think this has a lot to do. This here has a lot to do with Elon Musk and Twitter, and he's taking over and cutting the fat. And there is an expectation because Elon is a fan of Dogecoin. There's an expectation that, or some type of rumor expectation, a hope, right? Hopium that Elon Musk is going to use Doge or incorporate Doge into Twitter to accept payments, something like that. We'll just have to wait and see how involved Dogecoin becomes in Twitter and as a payment processing coin and et cetera, et cetera. But Doge is, because of Twitter and Elon and all that, Doge is doing has done pretty well recently. We've seen Doge up. Let's see, 30% this last week. 30%. So Doge, in my opinion, is one to watch just because the market is, paying attention to it, right? AVE did have a move higher. If you take AVE from the low here, it pushed up 20%, right? So there are projects that are doing well, even when Bitcoin is not. We can see here Bitcoin is in a wedge. Here, a smaller wedge, right? And these wedges have a tendency to break out when not really sure. It looks like we may be coming back down into like 15.5, 15, 15.5, 15.7 area to retest these areas. If that occurs, that would be the third test, and then we could see a stronger move to the upside, maybe this week, maybe next week. Not really sure, right? We just don't know. But when we take a look at the larger picture, this is the daily chart, right? Let me expand this so we can take a closer look here. You can see, I hope you can see that we're in this wedge, right? There's a double wedge here. There is this wedge down here, consolidation, that we've been seeing for the past few weeks, and then there's this larger, more macro wedge, right? And usually the target for a wedge breakout is the top of the wedge. So that would be 25,000. So if we did, so like for example, you can see here we had one bounce here, two bounces, three bounces, and on the third bounce we moved higher and we hit the 24,800, 24,900 area, and that created the top of the wedge. Since then we've been declining here, a lot of volatility, some consolidation in this wedge, and now we're at the bottom again. We're at the bottom of this wedge, showing consolidation, showing that this could possibly be an area where Bitcoin does possibly have another bounce and then move strongly to the upside to retest this upper resistance line. Now again, it doesn't have to be this week. It doesn't have to be next week. Could be. It could be this week. Could be next week. We just don't know. But in this area, this is not, in my opinion, now this is only opinion, not financial advice. I think it's not a bad area to dollar cost average in Bitcoin or in possibly other projects that you feel will do well with Bitcoin reversing and pushing higher, like possibly ADA or AVE, something like that. They do pretty well when Bitcoin is moving forward and higher, right? So this is kind of what I'm looking for. I'm looking for some type of display of seller exhaustion. Now you can see here we had a lot of selling, but then we had buying right after that, and that kept us from going lower. We actually went higher and we retested this area. Now look at this. We had a lot of selling here, a lot of selling, but we didn't drop very far. It just brought us down to this area where this line is, this lower support line is, and then we bounced. So, and then now the last week we've been having very, very low volume. You can see very low volume here. Excuse me, right here. Okay, this area of low volume, it's nothing, and that's because we've had the holidays, right? And by the way, I hope your holiday was great. If you had Thanksgiving holiday in the West here in the United States, I'm happy for you. Hope you had a great holiday with your family, friends, loved ones, or maybe took vacation, something like that. And I hope your weekend was great too. Um, so, and that being said, I think that we probably will find we will bounce here somewhere in this area and then move higher and retest this upper trend line, which would bring us, between 18 and 19,000, depending on how much buying there is. Now, is it going to be this year? I think it's probably going to be this year. Is it going to be? Is there going to be a big breakout? Are we going to break out above this, like break out and then move higher and test the top of the wedge? I don't think we're going to do that this year. I think that's probably going to be next year. Like when we look back in history in January 2020, not 2021, not 2021 because we were on the way down at that time, but in January of 2020, well, I'll show you. We're on the daily, right? Yeah, we're on the daily. So let's go back really quick. In January 2020, yeah, right here, we had a 50% move. It doesn't look like much, right? It doesn't look like much. But right here, let's see here. Yeah, okay, this is it. January 2020, right here, this little push higher doesn't look like much, but believe me, it's significant because from this point in January 2nd, up here, okay, 43%, right? 43%. If you take it from a low, I think we're probably going to have a little bit more selling, towards the end of the year because of the holidays and people need money for the holidays for gifts or vacations or family or whatever. Could go a little bit lower, but we're looking at about 40 to 60%, and take the middle of that, 50%. So when you apply that to where we are now, that would bring us roughly to about 23, I think, 23.5. Let's take a look here. Move this over. And then we'll measure this move here. From where we are now, roughly, let's say 50%, right? Actually, 40% would take us to 22,500, 22,600. Okay, and then the top of the wedge, if we had a top of the wedge breakout, that's 54%, right? Because remember, these wedges, they should, now they don't always, but they should, these wedges, when they break out, if we make our way up here and we have a breakout here, we could make it slowly to 24.8, 25, something like that. That would be the target of this macro wedge. So not sure if that's going to happen this year. I don't think so. I think that could happen in January though. I think that's a very potentially very possible scenario, right? So uh, dollar cost averaging at this point, not a bad idea. Pay attention because the closer that we get towards the end of the year, we could have some type of a small sell-off, and then we could have some type of a recovery and push higher next year for quarter one. I've always said quarter one. Could be January, could be February. History doesn't always have to repeat exactly, but this is what I'm looking for, right? So sometime this sometime this month or sometime in December, I'm expecting some kind of a push up, possibly retesting this resistance area of 1819. And then if we do break out next, whenever we break out from this upper resistance, I'm expecting anywhere from 22 to 25, right? So just depends on how bullish everyone is. But I think we are seeing some exhaustion coming in for the sellers, and we've had such large amounts of selling. Look at this selling; it just hasn't really moved the price at all. All this selling, and that's significant on the daily chart, right? So how much more is there? Not really sure. I think that we're getting pretty close to the bottom. If not the bottom being in already at 15,500. But you always want to plan for the worst and hope for the best, right? You want to always understand that there's could be some downside, and you want to plan for that. You don't want to spend all your money at this price point because if it goes lower, you're not going to be able to dollar cost average in further. Small amounts as you go, and yeah, so you should be fine. You won't get wrecked that way. Again, not financial advice. Thanks for watching, friends. I think that we're going to do well this Q1 coming up in next year. I think that the sellers are getting exhausted, and we're seeing exhaustion here in this area, and in this wedge here, which is ultimately bullish. And so let's see what happens. I'm excited. I'm excited for the Q1 of next year. It could be January, February, March. Any of those months in Q1, I think we're going to have a significant push to the upside. And I think we should be preparing for it now, deciding what projects, what coins we want to be in, which ones we're going to select, and yeah, and go from there. So I know for myself, I'm going to be selecting. I'm going to be looking at AVE. I want to get into AVE more, and ADA, Algo, AVAX, BNB. I'm probably not going to take any BTC. If I do, it'll be a small amount of BTC, right? Probably a small amount of Doge just as insurance, because Doge, you never know, Doge could do something big. Dot, I'm not such a fan of Dot, although they're continuing to build, and Gavin Wood is now back in the engineering part, not the CEO. So I think that's a smart move for Dot. Engine, I'll probably pick up some. Ethereum, I'll pick some up. Gala, I'll pick some up. KCS as an exchange token, possibly, but I think BNB is probably the best bet there. Link, I was really disappointed with Link. We're back at 675. I don't know. We'll wait and see. I mean, Link is a leader in the space, but Link is more of a bear market coin. I don't know. We'll see. Matic, definitely. Near a little bit. I have a high hopes for Near, And let's see, sand. I'll be taking some sand and possibly a little bit of Solana. Um, yeah, and vet. And vet. Those are probably uh, substantial amount of vet and a little bit of XRP as well as insurance on that deal as well, just in case that has some type of a pop or push, some type of favorable outcome with the SEC. So anyway, there you have it. I'm getting excited. I'm excited for the new year coming up, and I'm mentally getting prepared for it, and I hope you are too. So only if you're prepared can you capitalize on it, and those that are prepared will do well. Anyway, take care, friends. We'll see you in the next video. Please click like. Bye bye.